All right, so in this video, I'm going to be showing how to determine the slope of a linear graph. Now, when we're talking about a linear graph, basically, we are talking about a straight line graph. So, the first thing we need to know is what is the slope of the formula for determining the slope of a straight line graph. Slope, excuse me, let me change it. The slope, which is also known as the gradient for a linear graph, is given by what? Change in y over what? Change in x, which is equal to what? Y2 minus y1 over what? X2 minus x1. So in this case, this is the formula for determining the slope. But quite a large number of students used to have issues, especially when they are required to find the slope of a straight line graph. So how do we now determine the slope? So let me draw a graph. Let's say I have a graph like this. Let me use a green pen. Say we have a graph like this. Excuse me. Okay. Then we have another straight line like this. So in this case, I'll call this the y-axis and I'll call this the x-axis. Let's say after choosing the line of best fit, you have a line that goes like this. So if you have a line that goes like, definitely your right triangle for the slope will be like this. Actually, it is recommended that the right triangle is big enough, especially when you are plotting a physics graph. This is the right triangle. Of course, if the right triangle is facing the right hand side, this will give you a positive slope. So we're going to be talking about that later. So this, what you have here is change in y, because this vertical line represents whatever change you have on the y-axis, and here you have a change in x. Now, there's something I want to make here. This change in y means that whatever value you have here, you read it to the y-axis, okay? Whatever value you have here as well, you read it to y-axis. Then change in x means you read the value to x-axis, just like this. So now, the question is, how do I know where y2 and y1 is? A lot of students used to make mistake, and that will result in a wrong slope. So this represents your y2, you read it to y. This represents your y1. Why this represents your what? X2, you read it there. This represents your what? X1. So at the end of it, you have your slope, right, to be equal to what? Change in y over change in what? X. So if you interchange this, you are going to be getting the wrong slope. So which is y2 minus y1. So if we plug in values, so let's assume let me say I have 2 here, and let's say I have 8 here, and let's also say I have like 3 here. Let's say I have like 9 here. So I can determine the slope from what I have here. So how do I determine? So my slope is change in y over change in x, which is what? Y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So this we now read, what is y2? That corresponds to 8 minus what? Y1. That corresponds to what? 2 over x2. That is what? 9 minus what? X1. And that is what? 3. So if we solve 8 minus 2, that is 6. Then 9 minus 3, that is 6. So 6 divided by 6, that is 1. So which is greater than 0, meaning that the slope of this graph is positive. So I want to believe that this accepts someone. Please don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Thank you.